of our flower country trip. If you look in front of you, it's amazing views. The rains have been really awesome. They've made the place look so green. Yeah, you wouldn't think you were in semi-outback Australia, that's for sure. So we've got about another, according to the GPS, 40 minutes, Mullawa, and then from there we're going to head south and then try and find a rest stop, because it's already, I haven't got my watch on me, but I think it's about 3 o'clock. I'd like to stop in daylight and get settled. Anyway, it looks like they've harvested a lot of the crops. Looking at the sides, and yeah, they've been busy out here at the farms. Stunning views from over there. You can see it. The truck is definitely quieter since I've done the back end sound deadening. I think the boys are appreciating it. Although Marley's never one that's very settled in a vehicle, never has been. But he'll get used to it. Look at that there. So I don't know if you can see on the left is the train. I think that's the iron ore train for Horizon. So we're doing about 80, 85. I don't know what they're doing.
Here he comes. Here he is, Lizzie. Here he is, Matty. He's coming. There he is.
So this was my attempt to find the flowers, I guess. I'm following the trail, and you'll see they have a special emblem or logo with the steel sort of 4 flowers on a post, and I sort of gathered that was the thing that you looked for to follow the flower trail. You'll see it coming up on your left in a minute on this footage. And that's what I was doing. So there it is, the sort of blue, purple, yellow and white flowers and the name of the particular spot. I just assumed you just pulled up there and they guided you towards the trail where the flowers would be, but it just gave you information about the area, but very little else to go by. So I just thought, oh well, I might just carry on driving along this track to see if anything else appears.
Not sure where we're going, but after all,
as you'll see, it wasn't very successful.
I'll just go up a little bit. Jeez, that train's coming. dead end. Might turn around. So that's the train in the background, and I'm at a rest stop. Very pretty one at that. And fortunately, I thought I'd let the dogs out for a pee, and I honestly thought my Monty could crawl back through there, but he can't because his legs are not quite right. So what we're going to have to do is, I forgot to bring the wood that inserts into the ladder. I did think about it, but I thought no, he'll do it. He can't, which means basically he's trapped in this cab. I'm going to have to go all the way home to get that. It's going to be another hour. But hey, there's no point in carrying on without him being able to come in and out of this cab. So I'm going home, picking them up, and we'll come back. It'll be dark by then, but we'll see how we go.
So we finally made it. This is the morning after I managed to get out and take some pictures. We tucked in behind this old and very interesting petrol station or stop and store called Tinindua, I think it was called. It was pitch black when we got there, so it was a bit awkward to find the best spot, but there we go, we found it. And yeah, very interesting place.
This is where we stayed last night. We are now stuck because there's the train there. It's blocked off both exits. I can't get out. I don't know how long these trains sit there for. Looks like he's either got a problem checking the wagons, waiting for another one to cross. Actually, there was a crossover because it's a single track. So great. What do you do now? It's soaking wet outside. Forecast was yesterday, and I thought, oh, they've got it wrong, but it's actually very wet. It's very pretty. It looks lovely when you're inside, but we need to get going. We've got a lot of miles to cover. Otherwise, this trip might become a bit of a whitewash. I'm just going to see. I've come to this end of the train. I'm assuming they don't block off all the exits. It's damn close to that train, to that track. But it looks like we might be able to get out, which is a good thing, because we need to go and get moving. Oisies are chillaxing in the back, sorta. Oh yeah, there we go. So we can get out. For a minute I thought we were trapped. Well, that's good. Let's keep going.
So this place promised to be the best place to see the wildflowers, just off this sort of rest area. But as you can see, it's an absolute downpour, and it was still raining. I couldn't even get out, it was so muddy. So I decided to carry on in the hope that the next spot, or the next stop, would have something a bit more promising and the weather would clear up.
I haven't seen one of those for a long time. This weather is crazy. It's so windy.
So on the way, decided to stop at Karen Dam. It's a really fascinating place, and unfortunately I've lost footage for that. I don't know where I've put it. So I've put some stock photos in here. There's plenty of information on the website, but yeah, it's definitely worth a visit. And I think if I had more time, I'd actually camp here, even though the highway is only, I don't know, 150, 200 meters off the campsite. So maybe a little bit noisy, but it seemed like a very peaceful place. This stock footage here shows the dam full of water, but it wasn't when I was there, and I couldn't find any really interesting flowers there either.
Just leaving Karen Dam. It's like a big dam that's covered in tin sheets. Apparently it was built in the 1900s for the railway, because railways back then needed steam. Steam came from water, and they need water to power it. Very interesting facts.
Next stop was Latham, just after Karen's Dam, not far away. It's sort of in a hub where there's a lot of farming infrastructure, and I stumbled on this rest stop which is part of the Flower Trail, and it was a really quirky and interesting place, as you can see from the images. I'm so glad I managed to stop there. I just thought it was fascinating. Yet again, no particular flowers I could see of worthy note, but that could be just me. Woburn was the next stop after Latham, a massive railway hub in the middle of the wheat belt area. Unfortunately, the museum was closed, so never got to see what was in there, which is a shame. Boys are a bit anxious, it's a bit bouncy, a bit windy, and the road isn't particularly good either. Latest is we still have a full tank of diesel, and our main veggie tank is just under half. The other one is still full. So that's from Charlton to Dalwhinnie basically. So we used just over half a tank of veggie oil from Charlton to Dalwhinnie, plus all the little, you know, little excursions here and there to have a look at the wildflowers. Anyway, New Dorset is the next stop, which is about 110 k's away, so hopefully we can get there before it gets dark and we'll find a nice campsite, call it a day. It's been a long day of driving. The boys have had enough, I've had enough. Looking forward to a beer and chillaxing. Let alone in a truck. Pretty rowdy in here right now. That's pretty awesome. Scary. Finally, after a long drive, managed to find this campsite using Wikicamps. It's near a lake, not that you can see that. The boys have been fed, I've had something to eat, and most importantly I've cracked a beer and set a little campfire up using my King's fire pit, using wood that I brought from home, some scrap wood, and now I'm just chillaxing with my second beer, kicking back and enjoying the peace and tranquility. Morning all. This is the second stop that we've come across. I've forgotten the name of the lake, but it's somewhere near a town called Miller, I think. Anyway, I'll let you know what the name is later on. How good is this? Right on an inland lake. Got the ramp open. We're on a bit of a slope. I've got some blocks of wood under that wheel at the back, but the fronts I meant to dig a hole, but it was dark, so I couldn't find my spade. So here we are, here are the boysies, enjoying life. They've had their breakfast. I'm having my coffee down there. Marley's looking beautiful, hasn't she? And this is where we're at. Look at this. So it's a very small campsite. I think you could get one or two more people on here, unless there's small caravans. And then there's a access road, a dirt road just there, which is where we come. It's sort of farming country. You can see by my tyre tracks, me manoeuvring the old girl into position. It's quite sandy, so I had to put her in low range because she's quite heavy. Last time I weighed her fully laden, she was at 9.7, so still under 10 ton, which is good. And the view looking back, better not fall off the edge. There's the boys. Yes, how good is this, Mutty. And there we go, beautiful day. Yesterday it was very wet and blustery and squally and pretty gnarly. So today's a welcome change. Let's see how we go going back. We're keeping heading south. We're going to end up at Busselton to a friend of mine. Unfortunately, there are no more stops between here and there, so it's going to be a long day's drive. We won't get there till late at night again. But there we go. That's what happens when you leave these trips to the last minute because of things not going to plan. So I decided to take the boys out for a little wander around the lake, and unfortunately within the first few seconds Marley, the retriever, decided to pick something up off the floor near what looked like an old fire pit, so I'm assuming it's some sort of scrap, but I'm a bit paranoid about these dogs picking up things that's going to make them either sick or even worse, and I'm talking about 1080 baiting. Now, I'm not saying there is 1080 baiting around this area, but it's really hard to quantify and find out from anyone whether it's in this area or any area, to be honest. So my understanding, the more inland you go, the more likely it's going to be around. But I want my dogs to obviously be safe, and I want them to learn how to be comfortable wearing these veils. They're called Buzzy Beans veils. They're made in Australia. There is I don't know if it's a knockoff or a copy of an American brand, but I decided to go for the Australian one. They are really well made. Now, they're not advertised to be able to stop dogs picking up 1080 baits or licking them, but I'm sure it's a darn sight better than having nothing on them at all. I will obviously watch them like a hawk in areas where I think it's definitely around, especially when I see the signs. I never saw a single sign in this area, so I'm assuming it's relatively safe. But there's no harm in them learning how to use them and get comfortable with them. It makes me feel more confident as well that I'm not going to get into any strife. I don't want to be paranoid about it all the time, but it's always in the back of my mind. Otherwise you're going to have to start thinking of things like, where's the nearest vet, how do I get there, and we're not exactly cruising in the fastest machine in the world, so any issues like that could be quite detrimental, I guess. This is obviously not the first time my dogs have had these Buzzy Bean veils. I have been training them every other day at home, getting them used to putting them on and taking them off. So as you can see, they actually don't seem to mind them at all. They now and then they don't like it when you slip it over their faces, but as you can see in this clip, they're pretty used to it by now. I did get some very funny faces back home where I lived when people saw them wandering around, and I had to explain to them what they were for and why I was doing it. It was quite comical. Anyway, at this point we're going to head back to the truck and start packing up, ready to hit the road and go further down south. That's done. So this is where I'm transferring the oil. Let it drain out for a bit. Right, one last visual. Make sure all the tabs are in the right place. They are. Everything good up here. Tires secure. Going nowhere. All the windows are closed. Alright, we're going to get out of here now. I'll set the camera up. See how steep it is. Well, it's not too bad from this angle. Never quite seen the truck from this angle, so I'm just going to show you how cool it looks level with the ground. The beast. Oh well, let's continue our journey to that beautiful vista. The other boys can't see one on the back. Alright, that back door. Always gotta make sure you've got everything sorted. Missed that on the visual, didn't we? And let's put the fuel caps back on. Come on.
convent in New Norcia. That's me parked up there. It's an impressive building, I have to say. What a place. It's just adorably beautiful. Beautifully built. If I had more time, I would have stayed the night here somewhere. It sort of reminds me of some of the more stately places in the UK, like, well, I won't say Chatham and that they're massive, but you know, the Australian version. And look at that. Shame these trees are on the road. It's beautiful. Another big building there on the road. It's beautiful ground. More toilets everywhere. From what I gather, it's a camp school as well for schools today. I don't know where they go. They're probably in the new buildings like that. Look at that. Beautiful. Just the trees seem to have split. Yeah. Go away coaches, you can't see. God, stunning. Wow. Look at this. God, it's absolutely beautiful.
So we say our goodbyes to New Norcia and head down south. Going down south through the back roads, none of the highways, which I found a lot more picturesque, but obviously it takes a lot longer. Some of these drives are extremely long. I sped the footage up and just to show you how the countryside changes as you go along, which is absolutely stunning. A lot of farming country, a few woodlands. Roads are absolutely quiet as, a bit of dirt roads as well thrown in for good measure. Just loved it. This driving, if I didn't have to be somewhere for a certain time, it would have been a lot less, how can I put it, rushed, I guess, but it was lovely driving through these country roads. This stretch of road through this quite thick forested area was quite a challenge at this time of night. It was quite dark, it felt very creepy while driving. There was not a soul on the road, not even any animals, nothing. It was, yeah, it was a bit weird. Maybe it's because I was a bit tired by now. I was starting to see things in the shadows or something. But it was 80 kilometers of this to get down south. It's a bit of a shortcut, but boy, was it hard work driving through this at night, especially with a bit of drizzle going on. But anyway, we made it, and you can sense my relief at the end.
didn't do much filming here because obviously not everybody wants to be in the public domain, I guess. So this is why I've not done much filming here. But regardless, here's our lovely truck and parked up in a field, looking good. It's been a lovely couple of days. Shame we have to go soon. Just pumping some more veggie oil into the tank. So from that one to that one, the primary veggie oil. And we've got our little setup with the banisters because we've stayed here more than a couple of nights. So it warrants putting this. A lot safer for the dogs and myself, and it keeps the door open. So yeah, that's where we're at, and we're going to go for a little wander and let that pump do its thing, and then pretty much pack up and go home. Come on, this way. Marty, come on.
So while I was packing up and getting everything ready to go, this little fella decided to come and pay me a little visit. He was literally within 200 millimeters off the camera lens, maybe 300. He was so close. So I had to capture this in slow-mo just to see it all over again. It was just absolutely wonderful to see it happening. Here he comes. Just fascinating. I was probably in his territory because they're quite territorial and checking me out to see if I was okay or not. And there he goes. Little willy wagtail.
So I'm at the Lancelin sand dunes. It's a vast area of sand dunes. I'm just gonna have a little wander in it. I'm not gonna go and do anything dramatic 'cause we're on our way home. So I'm just dropping the tire pressures, dropping the back ones to 60 and probably the front ones to 50 or maybe 45. Fortunately I didn't bring my tire inflator, so I'm having to do it sort of manually. So we're at for that tire. So now we can put this one on. To the side. I'm basically doing one at a time. Use that one, there we go. And see how we go. Hopefully we won't get stuck.
I want to go home. See my time. No problem. Do some more driving and go home. Managed to get to the top of this dune after a few attempts. I swear if this had lower pressures, it'd be a lot more capable. I just don't want to bring it too far down because it takes ages to film up. Look at that view. Look at that view. Look at this. Oh, it's just amazing. You know, I'm just going to get a drink from inside the house, but I think I've locked the door just to have. So I'm just going to use my crawl through to get the drink. This is when you want someone else to help you take pictures. It's fishy. Yes, shows you how big these dunes are. This is good experience. Test the limits. I'd hate to think what's happening inside though. Air fryer as well.